Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ryan. You want to introduce
Dave.
yourselves?
I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
Alright, so today Nerdarchy is going to grapple with grappling.
Yeah, found on page 195 out of your Player's Handbook.
So, all right. So, what are we doing here? Are we doing a grapple build, or are we just talking grappling?
I thought we were just going to talk grappling. You know,
I think we're doing a character build, right?
Okay, let's go character build on this one.
Character
All
build.
right.
We're going to build a grappler.
Because talking about grappling's not really that long to talk about because the rules are so simple and light.
The rules are simple. Just what, you know.
So, preface it real quickly. What page can we find grappling on?
195.
What page can we find the conditions on?
290.
And where else can we find them?
On your GM screen or DM screen.
So it's really simple, and grappling is a weird mechanic in this edition, but it's also very easy. It's you don't make
it's
an
so
attack.
weirdly simple for the I mean, compared to like past editions, third edition
Grappling
was
has always been a nightmare.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah.
So essentially, you make an athletics check, they make an athletics or acrobatics check, and if they don't have those skills, it's just the modifiers from strength or dex, and if they fail, they are grappled.
Yep.
Bang.
Lots
Done.
of fun.
Now, the key to being a good grappler, though, is not just grappling them. You must knock them over and then grapple them,
that's
Because
or
when
vice versa.
Because when something's grappled, the speed becomes 0 for that creature. So, and when you knock them down,
they need half their movement to stand
and
up.
if their movement is 0,
They cannot.
well, I mean, I guess you could argue that it's 0 to move up, but no.
No, yeah.
Well, no, if actually, like, to stand up, you need 10 foot of movement? 15? 15. Right?
Well, it's half your speed.
Well, it's
Yeah, you just need movement.
But if your
Yeah.
movement is 0, you can't
There's
stand
nothing
up.
to half,
You can't
yeah.
stand up. So, yeah, no, shove and then grapple is the way to go.
So oddly enough, like some of the really grapplers are classes you wouldn't think about. Like, and the class that you think be the best grappler really,
Suboptimal.
isn't.
Yeah.
You know, so like you instantly think grappler, so you think like the monk's got to be great at it. Now the monk is the best grappler as far as doing damage,
And,
because
they're pretty utilitarian as far as things they can do.
yeah, like so when you're talking grappling, you're not talking about doing damage. Really, you're just talking about putting the condition on them.
right.
And there, which can be interesting because the other thing about grappling is you can move half your speed when you grab somebody. So you can pull them into the crowd of your cronies, and everybody can whomp
Wail
on
on
them after you knock them down. You know, so they all
Push
have
them off of a
advantage.
cliff
Yeah, you can push them off the cliff.
Push them off a cliff. If you're the monk, you can jump off the cliff with them
and
you
be
know.
okay.
And there's a good chance you may not get hurt, and keep them grappled,
Yeah.
just in case they don't go down. The barbarian makes an awesome grappler.
Yeah. Well, the raging gives them what? Advantage on strength checks, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you've got that basically advantage to grapple.
In there's two like hidden gem character classes when it comes to grappling.
The rogue.
The rogue and the bard.
The bard. All right. Let's
They
hear
get
it.
expertise.
Expertise.
Yeah.
Expertise.
You take
in athletics.
expertise in athletics, like you for one, you're proficient in athletics. Two, you're getting double the bonus plus whatever your strength is. And obviously, if you're building a grappler, you're going to want a high strength. And then for races, you want mountain dwarf, you want human, half orc works.
Oh, dude, you know what though? The monk that just dips one level into rogue, pretty nasty.
Well, yeah, I was
Like-
actually thinking that.
Yeah, that would be pretty sick. Because so you've got your expertise, you got that sneak attack that you can throw in. Because if one of your allies is adjacent to it, you're getting sneak on top of your monk damage.
And one of the things is once you have them grappled, you can hold them and use that bonus action to hit them twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's where the monk kind of excels because, the problem with the grappler is the economy of actions. You need a lot of actions to make it effective.
Yeah.
Because you got to knock them over, you got to grapple, and then you still want to punch them in their face. So the monk is good because he can grab 2 bonus actions to use flurry of blows, but the downside is you cannot use your flurry of blows to actually initiate a grapple.
Right, or do anything grapply. You can knock them down though, because with the way the opening hand is pretty much the way to go. I mean, the shadow monk, as a little aside, has the thing where like they can cast silence on themselves, and this way do a little like Metal Gear Solid, like running up, grab somebody by the throat, and they can't say anything. Like if you're silenced, then they can't.
Or
make any sound.
counter the mage.
Yeah, or counter the mage. But so I mean that's one. But the way the opening hand with the flurry of blows, one of their things is they have to make a dex check or be knocked prone.
which is way superior to the other way of doing it, which would be a fighter battle master who gets superiority dice that can use maneuvers like trip and disarm. The only problem with their maneuvers is they're all saving throws versus strength.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're wrestling someone that's kind of bumpy, it's like they're going to probably pass their save. But if you have, the monk that can go against Dex,
Yeah.
that gives them a clear-cut advantage.
Yes. And then another class that I was thinking about while reading the grappling rules was Druid, because you can wild shape into creatures like big bears that have a high strength that can just knock people over and just put their paw down on them.
Let me digress too. We should have said this at the beginning, and we'll have to put the link. But there, on the Watts site, someone did an extensive thing on grappling and various builds. So we did take a lot of our information from there. So
Classes and races were broken down. It was pretty cool.
yeah, someone did a lot of the work already. So
Oh yeah.
I thought there was another one on EndWorld, but it might have actually even been linking back to that article. So so if we're going to build a grappler. Obviously, so now you got fighter, you've got barbarian, you've got paladin, you got monk, and apparently, bard and rogue. So they can all grapple.
Druid.
And druid,
Especially if you add bard for expertise, you get your spell casting levels still bumped up, and you get the expertise in athletics.
But it's very specific with the druid though. With the druid, you're going wild shape.
Yes.
For superior
Strength score.
strength score, and possibly even some features. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's definitely some things that help with that. The only problem with that is it's very specific. A lot of them, like you have to take a certain action to get the knockdown or the grab, where where that's your action. You can't like interchange them. Like if you have multi attack as an animal, you can't go, oh, I got multi attack, so my attack actions are to grapple. No, you have to do the thing, claw and bite or whatever.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't get multi-attack. Doesn't just then give you three attacks.
Yes.
Actions. It gives you
very specific attacks.
Yeah, you get these things. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it as not basing an entire character around. I mean, like you had to do in 3. You could have a good grappler and not base an entire character concept around it. Like, oh no, this thing's bigger.
But doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of this series where we do character builds?
I like versatility, even in a character build. My guys can do like 7 other things, so that's just me. So that's why I was thinking about the druid, because I've got spellcasting, battlefield control. I can wild shape and take a whole bunch of damage. So I mean, that's just me. I would just pick the druid and be like, I want to be able to grapple things too.
Well, I mean, and
so I'd lead towards picking up different like animal shapes or hunting different animals. Not hunting them, but bird watching for different things that would be good grapplers.
I don't think birds would be good grapplers at all.
No, very good
bird
grapplers.
watching, I was equating, bear watching, whatever you want to call it.
And the bear in the room here is absolutely one of the feats you're going to want to pick up is the grappler feat, because bar none, like pinning people and giving them disadvantage to get out of your grapple.
Sucks.
But pinning is awesome.
Pinning sucks. You are grappled when you pin. You are restrained when you're pinned. Your movement is 0 when you're pinned. I like the fact that if you grapple them, you can have advantage on your attacks. And I like the fact that you can go mano a mano with an ogre.
Yeah. Well, if there's like one big foe that you want to take down, like that's the way to go.
But if they're grappled, their movement is still 0, so there's no real advantage to it. It locks you in place. I don't even understand why they put that in there.
Yeah.
If you read Grappler and then you read Grappling, grappling the condition, if you're grappled, your movement is 0. If you're pinned, your move is 0. I don't know if there was something else that's supposed to be in there.
Yeah, that got missed, maybe.
Yeah, but there's no advantage to pinning someone. I can think of some specific instances, but the fact that you have them grappled, it automatically does the same thing anyway.
I think if we're looking at it from the perspective of not just ganging up on the guy and killing him, but perhaps actually restraining him, like I'm an officer of the law and I'm trying to bring somebody in, and I'm pinning them so that someone can wrap them up in something or hold person them,
I
or
think
whatever the purpose.
I think the advantage of pinning, I think per grappler, when you
can win the match when the referee
right, it counts to 3. No, like I think what the rules are. So when you're grappling, like it's the opposed rolls, but I think when you pin them, you actually have your advantage on the rolls there for the grappling. When they're pinned, you have advantage on the rolls. I don't think you get that otherwise.
Grappler roll. With the grappler feat, you have advantage on attack rolls against the creature you are grappling. So it doesn't require a pin
Oh, wow.
to get the advantage.
Yeah.
You can use your action to try and pin them. If you pin them, both you and the creature you are pinned are considered restrained until the grapple ends.
And that's on page 292.
Well,
Okay, that does.
I can tell you the benefit.
It does kind of suck.
I don't think it's worth it, but I can tell you the benefit. The benefit is if you pin them, you don't have to knock them down. But if you shove them first and then grapple them,
it's all gravy.
then you get all of those benefits. It's just it takes an extra action. So and then if you do pin them, and if you pin them first, I guess it would technically make it easier to then shove them.
Yeah.
And knock them down.
Well, the creature gets disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. They have disadvantage on attack, and you have advantage on and you have advantage on attack.
And if you're a monk and you just pin them and you want to knock them over, you basically you're knocking them over to be just punching them in the face, and they'll have disadvantage.
Well, actually, so one of the things I love with monk is like you check to stunning fist them. Like at least your first attack be a stunning fist.
Then they auto fail.
They auto fail. Then you go to pin them, and then you flurry of blows them and like knock them down because they also are going to auto fail. And then you're just on top of them, beating the crap out of them. Like they're
ground and pound, baby.
They are so boned. They are so boned in a round if they failed that stunning fist because they can't do anything. And then you advance them, so they're screwed.
You totally ground and pound them, even
Yeah.
if they're an ogre, because you took the grappler feat.
That's right. Yep. Great.
But now if you're the one issue though is if you're a monk and you're building a grappler character, you got to take Tavern Brawler
Yeah.
to be the most effective.
To be able to do at least a D4 worth of damage.
Well, you get now. I like the feat. You get other benefits to just the D4. I mean, you get improvised weapons,
You can Jackie Chan some
which
shit.
means like if
breaking a table over somebody's back.
yeah
You get a plus to strength or con.
yeah plus the strength on you're proficient with it now. And then I think if you make it an unarmed attack, you can grapple as a bonus action.
When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon on your turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple.
Which that's kind of huge if you're not a monk.
Yeah, to not be the monk. Yeah.
I mean, monks can make off hacks as Well, I guess everybody can, but the monks are at it
Yeah.
because it falls under their martial arts.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, they can make Flurry of Blows is infinitely better, but as a bonus action instead, they could make an unarmed strike.
And not eat at their cut points.
Yeah, exactly.
So I see different like build ideas from that dude from Watts and in the forum, and a lot of them I just didn't like the flavor. The barbarian grappler, I like a fighter grappler, I like a monk grappler. Any of those with a dip into rogue or bard will make you superior.
And really, the mountain dwarf is bar none the way to go. Like because of the bonus to strength and con, like the con's going to keep you in the game long, and strength you need strength. Like
Well, half orc has got the same pluses, and you have the ability to have that extra bump on criticals and the.
You're not dealing damage as a grappler. You're dealing substantial damage that actually matters.
I think I like the Mountain Dwarf, especially if you're just going to go straight Bard, because, well, I guess if College of Valor is just going to, because you get the extra attack, so you can do the grapple.
I look at it as.
But you don't need, you're again, they get that +2/+2 because really medium armor mostly goes to waste for everything except a spellcaster that isn't a Bard.
I look at
College
it.
of Valor.
I look at it as if if barbarian and monk are your higher two, getting armor proficiencies aren't going to help you. Because,
I would agree.
So therefore, half orc is the better choice because you're
Why
getting.
isn't armor proficiency going to help you?
Monks don't wear armor.
Well, no,
Oh, yeah.
not for monk, but fighter. If
Well,
you're going to
he
go.
said
barbarian and monk.
Yeah.
Both of which excel at not wearing armor.
Right.
So therefore, the mountain dwarf is giving the whole point of going mountain dwarf is for that armor proficiencies.
No, it's for
they
the
get
strength and con.
+2/+2.
They
But
get
that's what half orc gets.
+2/+1.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
all right. Well, I
We
misremembered.
all the rest of us noticed that they're the only ones that get +2/+2.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
No,
they
You
are a
can-
rare
You can do
exception.
half elf, they can't put their +1s in the same thing, can
No.
they? See, so
Okay.
there you go.
But that being said, and the other thing too is other dwarves get the dwarves in general get a lot of cool stuff to work with.
They do.
But the hill dwarf actually works really good as well because, especially if you go monk, because of their bump to wisdom.
Right.
The hardest thing about going monk with anything is the fact that you have you need dex, you need wisdom,
And you need strength.
and you need strength if you're a grappler. And then if you're getting punched in the face and punching people in the face, you want con.
Well, actually, so the monk is a super suboptimal build in that 99.999% of the time, you are best served as a monk by making your dex as high as it can go. Between dex and wisdom, but your attacks are going to be off of dex. So you probably go high as you can on dex, secondary wisdom. As the grappler, you need strength to be successful as a grappler.
Yes.
So you're basically going to take a penalty to dex or wisdom to be able to make that work in stats. Like unless you're rolling your stats and have just awesome, 3 awesome.
And
stats.
here's the other thing too is like with the monk, your Kai power that's based off of wisdom.
It's wisdom, yeah, to be successful at that.
So you're not necessarily going to want to dump that either. You need a good wisdom.
Oh no, you're not. Yeah, you're certainly not dumping. Well, yeah, like anything somebody's making a save against.
I mean, the nice thing about the Hill Dwarf though, +2 to con, an extra hit point a level. You're getting beefy on the hit points at least. And you're going to need it because you're going to get hit a lot.
You're going to get punched in the face
because your dex isn't as good as you want it to be.
Yeah. Well, it's like for your Eberron game. Like I made a Warforged monk who he's not rocking the dex. He's got like a +1 or a +2, but he's also got an 18 strength.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was definitely trade-offs there. Yeah.
Well, and there always is going to be. The monk is just a hard class because it requires so many stats for the grappler.
Yeah.
The barbarian, not so much so. He's gonna, he's going to get advantage when he's raging. He wants a high strength anyway.
And he gets con as AC.
And he adds con to his AC, so that's definitely a score there.
You don't need any of your mentals for a barbarian unless you want to be like the super nature-y guy.
Yeah, also too though, but if you go totem, you go the path of the bear, and all of a sudden you're taking half damage from everything but psychic.
Yep.
So that works really well, and the monk and the barbarian get the other two things that are really important, which is extra movement. Having as much movement as possible as a grappler is important because when you're moving someone around, you only get half your movement.
Right.
So and that's one of the problems with being a dwarf is they're slow, 25. Right. So you can only move someone 10 feet around. So if you're
except for the monk, as the monk you get extra move. Well,
yeah,
and
monk
the
barbarian.
Yeah, barbarian later. So I mean,
mountain dwarf barbarian, grappler is the way to go.
Yeah,
but again, you got to wait till 4th level to get the feat, and that's where the human comes in at 1st level. He can start off with the grappler no matter which path he goes.
That's right.
If he wanted to do that.
Yeah, none of these builds really sing until you get that
4th level.
Yeah. So
which and then in that case you're really going to you're going to take a hit when it comes to your stats because you're taking the feats.
Right.
And most of the feats that you're going to want do not give you a stat bump.
Yeah. Well, grappler specifically.
Tavern Brawler does.
Yeah.
Grappler does not.
No.
Right, but if you're going Tavern Brawler, then you're either you're either going barbarian or fighter, I would think, or rogue, or one of the bard, or one of the other choices. There's a couple feats that deserve honorable mention. Mobility, extra movement, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Doesn't actually matter what you're playing. There's another. The Mage Slayer is also a good one. If as you get further into the build, you want to double down on being a threat to the spellcasters. That's a decent way to go as well.
Break your fingers.
If you're really into the I want to pin a creature, and you're worried about its allies pounding on you. You can always aim towards tough as well.
Yeah, more hit points. So the fighter's going to excel because he just gets a lot of feats. So if you were to go human fighter, you could go that round, just load up on feats. You're probably going to want to go with the battle master, so you have more control-y things you can do.
Yeah, if you go fighter.
You're gonna need. The tough part is what do you take first? Do you take Grappler first, or do you take Tavern Brawler first?
Tavern Brawler to get some damage going.
Yeah, to get. But that's not really the point of the build. So although doing damage is good,
but you can grapple. Yeah, you can as a bonus action you get to grapple.
Yes, which is nice, which gives you more actions to do.
Yeah.
And then and then also another one that any of the grapplers might consider when they get a free feat is martial adept. That gives you a battle master maneuver or 2 maneuvers and 1 die.
Right.
Which could be trip, right?
It could be whatever you pick, yeah. And there's several of them that are quite useful. So
Well, you can disarm whatever weapon they've got, so they can't use it against you.
There's tripping, there's pushing, there's disarming, there's giving your action to another ally. There's one where it doesn't require any of your action, where you can, allow the I think it's like a reaction or something on your ally's part, and they get to move, so you can maneuver them closer to ganking the guy you just throw on the ground. So there's different routes to go. So I guess in conclusion, there are several ways to build a fun, effective grappler. Grappling is cool. It's kind of situational, but it's a fun thing to do. And the way the rules are kind of written, you can grapple 2 people at once.
You can grapple 2 dudes at the same time. I've done it, and it's awesome. It's
Yeah,
like, both in a headlock.
Yeah, or throw them on the ground, step on them, whatever you need
Clang
to do.
their heads together.
And then, and that's the other reason why you want to put them on prone, because everybody within 5 feet gets advantage to hit that person.
That's right.
Yeah, headlock them, trip them, boom, on the ground.
Yeah, hip toss them, something.
Yeah.
Body slam.
Sounds like fun.
Now, reading all the stuff online and as well as talking with you guys makes me really anxious about being grappled. So I was looking at some spells to counter grappling, and there's not too many. I mean, there's Enhance Ability is a 2nd level spell.
Hey, not haste. Freedom of movement.
Freedom of movement.
Misty step.
Misty step.
Enlarge.
Well, yeah, there's Enlarge to be... So if they don't have the grappler ability, you can just make yourself one size category larger and embrace the grapple.
Whatever.
And Enlarge basically makes you better at it, too. I think it gives you advantage on strength checks.
So there's a lot of bonuses to... So there's different spells you can use. So if you are that caster that can be bound up...
Grease.
I would definitely allow a caster to grease themselves and
shoot out of the grapple.
And basically, if the other person failed their save against the grease, I would allow one of the options for the wizard to slip
right out of the hold. So then there's also all the different armors that you can put on that do damage. So you got your fire shield and your armor of Atheris or whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah. So there's a couple that would make you not want to grapple.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got some mobility in that situation. So I felt a little better after reading the spells again.
Oh yeah, grappling
shines.
Grappling shines against monsters. To be honest with you,
with very few abilities, probably not anything in athletics.
Well, yeah, they don't get the skills, so they're gonna even your uber strong monsters are at a disadvantage. Mm-hmm. If they're large or smaller, and you went grappler. So, and that's kind of the fun thing. You get the hip toss a ogre.
Yeah, when you get into like gargantuans, then you have some problems. But
yeah, when someone can attack you by sitting on you, it doesn't really help that much.
Yeah,
I got you. Or your one claw. Yeah, what are you gonna do with it? Pink. So I think we've pretty much grappled this one out.
It's pinned. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
You guys, you can let us know what you think of grappling in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons down in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff.
You can go to nerdarchy.com.
You can check us out on Facebook.
You can also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.